Republicans are facing a branding issue in regards to the recent news regarding the overturning of Roe v. Wade. The National Republican Senatorial Committee would like their members to stay away from the issue of abortion, except to insist they are compassionate and caring about life. But this messaging is entirely inconsistent from Republicans, who rail against social justice and woke ideologies of compassion and charity. Republicans' pretense of a commitment to helping people forced to give birth against their will once the right to abortion is overturned is just not credible. Here's Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves in an interview with CNN's Jake Tapper.
But so just to be clear, you have no intention of seeking to ban IUDs or Plan B?
That is not what we're focused on at this time. We're focused on looking at see what the court allows for. The bill that is before the court is a 15-week ban. We believe that the overturning of Roe is the correct decision by the court. And so in Mississippi, we don't have laws on the books that would lead to arresting individuals or anything along those lines.
You mean not arresting girls or women, but you would arrest doctors?
Well, certainly, I don't think that that you're going to see doctors performing abortions if we have a state statute which says that they are not allowable except for those exceptions that we've mentioned earlier.
Despite his claim of focusing on resources for expectant mothers, journalist Brian Tyler Cohen pointed out Tate's hypocrisy because, according to the National Women's Law Center, Mississippi has the highest infant mortality rate in the country, the highest poverty rate for women in the nation, and one of the highest uninsured rates for women in the nation, as well as ranking last in the country for women's and children's health outcomes. Governor Reeves wasn't the only Republican governor to make such a disingenuous claim, though. So-called moderate Asa Hutchinson of Arkansas also said he thinks they should increase services for women who are in difficult circumstances with their pregnancies. Yet last year, Hutchinson signed a bill banning abortion with no exceptions for rape or incest. The Guardian reported since 2019, at least 11 U.S. states, including Alabama, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, and Texas, have passed legislation that bans abortion without any such exceptions for rape or incest. Let's take a look at his response when pressed about that on ABC.
I want to go back to my question about those women. What would you say to those women who seek an abortion, who don't have the money to travel, who don't have the money to raise a child? What would you say to them?
Well, first of all, again, that's where your heart goes out to them. I've had to deal with those very difficult circumstances of rape and incest as governor, and it's difficult. And so you have to understand that. You have to provide services, and I believe that we want to increase the services for maternal health, to increase the services for adoption services as well. And so we want to invest in those areas that will help those women with very difficult circumstances of the pregnancy.
Where Republicans once believed that absolute bans were toxic with voters, the party's legislatures have now adopted the language once promoted by the most extreme anti-abortion activist in the country. According to The Guardian, this recent change in attitude is attributed to the work of an anti-abortion group called Students for Life of America, another AstroTurf production sponsored by big money GOP donors and co-chaired by Leonard Leo, the far-right Federalist Society leader who shepherded Trump's 3 conservative anti-abortion justices onto the Supreme Court. The organization's executive director, Kristen Hawkins, has said that in her ideal world, the pill and IUDs would be illegal, stating, "I don't believe abortion-causing contraception should be legal, including IUDs, which terminate the life of an early embryo. They put women at risk and they kill children," she said. She's certainly not the only conservative with those views. And for those suggesting that talk of criminalizing miscarriages is just more left-wing hysteria, there are already incidents that are happening around the country. Mother Jones reported a horrific story about one Oklahoma woman who was convicted of manslaughter for having a miscarriage, which the prosecutor blamed on her alleged use of methamphetamine. In fact, there have been more than 70 cases of women being prosecuted for pregnancy-related crimes in the state since 2007. If various personhood laws recognizing equal rights of the fetus are passed, we can expect to see more of this. Minority Leader Mitch McConnell told USA Today that it's possible a national ban will be proposed. Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York will be putting up a show vote this week on the Women's Health Protection Act, which would codify Roe v. Wade. It has been passed by the House but was shot down in the Senate last February. It is unlikely to pass this time as well, as being subject to the filibuster. Democratic Senators Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin have already said they would not vote to lift the filibuster to pass it. Schumer says this will illustrate for the American people where the Republicans stand, which at this point is rather obvious. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to visit us at rawstory.com. And if you'd like to see more of the Raw Report, please like and subscribe and join others who like their news raw too.